This weekend has been thrilling. Putting together a low budget indie gaming, or more accurately Minecraft box for my son for 136 euro. With a damaged motherboard, a used CPU, used RAM, what can possibly go wrong? Let's start by the case, left to take dust in my attic next to the Christmas decoration and baby stuff. It's a bit Phoenix Phenom, more than enough suitable case for this build. So, €0 for the case. The motherboard, a nice Z97M from Asrock, which was my previously used motherboard in my main build. The motherboard had the PCIe slot ripped off while removing a GPU. Oops. I contacted Asrock to know repair options, but they never replied. So I decided to cut off the pins and recycling it. What can possibly go wrong? To cut them, I used a soldering cutter, and it was not as easy as I thought it was. First, I had to start to cut the pin at the middle high and then more close toward the base. However, when you do that, lots of small metal debris are flying all around, so I felt safer putting masking tape covering the different slots of the motherboard, and definitely leave the socket cover on the motherboard, but you should always leave it on while there's no CPU placed in the cooler. So I was able to do a fairly good job and remove all the pins and have a nice and smooth area, so the PCIe slot is completely gone. But that allowed me to spend €0 for the motherboard. The next part was try to find a used CPU, an 1151, so it's not so easy because they're already 3 generations behind at the moment, and I needed one with an integrated graphic. I was totally lucky to find a Pentium G2538k, the 20th anniversary edition, which is matched perfectly with the Asrock board that I had. I found the CPU with the Intel cooler included for €40, so happy with that. Next was the RAM. It was hard to find DDR3 RAM modules for a decent price, but I was lucky to find a 2666 MHz used RAM sticks. Again for €40, which I was happy with. The next missing component, the PSU. Actually, for that I prefer to go new. I didn't trust to buy a used PSU, and I got completely ripped off for that because I had to spend €59 in Mapping. I live in Cork, Ireland, so not much choice there. So €59 for a 350 watt 80 plus, not even bronze PSU. I could have saved maybe €10–15 if I was buying it through Amazon, but I didn't want to wait, obviously. For the RAM then, when I was building it, I actually took the 1666 ballistics sticks that I had in my main build, as you know, I would rather use the higher speed RAM in my main build and leave the slower one for my son. So, drop the CPU in, thermal paste, cooler, slide it in the case, press the power button, fans are spinning, lights are turning on, but no post. I was totally sure the motherboard was gone, but it could also have been the CPU, being I bought a used one. I was using the HDMI port connected to my television. It will be where my son is going to use the computer. I tried the VGA output, but had no avail. Simply no output video, just a blank screen. To narrow down if the issue was down to the motherboard or not, I removed the RAM sticks to see if at least the motherboard would complain about missing RAM stick by beeping or anything, but no, same behavior, fan spinnings and no post. So I started to think that maybe the CPU was damaged. Before I'm meeting the fit, I've removed the CPU to inspect the socket, and to my surprise I actually saw that there were like 2 pins that were not aligned in the socket. One was slightly bended, while another one was completely bended all the other way around in the socket. So, ask myself, what will Chuck Norris do? I took a paper cutter, and with the aid of a magnifying glass for soldering, I was able to straighten the pins at my best. So, built everything again, press the power button, not hoping for much, and it post. Totally thrilling. Lesson learned is it's sometimes nice to experiment with parts you don't care too much, that you pay very few for, so you feel more free to try your luck and try to fix things and tinkering a little bit more. something that definitely I wouldn't have done with newer or more expensive parts. I thought about as well maybe buying a new APU from AMD on the AM4 socket, and that will have allowed me to keep the motherboard and for eventually upgrade into Ryzen, but I would have spent a little bit too much for what I needed to do, and I was happy to recycle a broken motherboard and making to use it again. Eventually, given the PCI slot is missing, if I want to upgrade with a graphic card, I'm considering try to get a PCIe 1 to 16 riser and drop in a 1050 Ti to maybe make my son discover something much better than Minecraft. Hope you enjoyed this video. I had to record it like 4 times because I was messing up with the microphone. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thumbs up if you liked it, and please let me know in the comments which was the most economic build you ever did by recycling parts, maybe asking to friends or buying used stuff. It's totally fun to do it, and I suggest you to do and try your best to put something together with a very low cost. Feel free as well to subscribe to my channel if you want more of this original content, and see you next time.